Your business is only going to be as successful as the value and the quality of the decisions that you are making. And we need to make a lot of decisions as business owners, but we never really learned how to make good decisions. You know, Ray Dalio, he said it well: the quality of your life ultimately depends on the quality of your decisions. And the same is true for business owners and how we actually are going to be successful in business. That's why I want to talk about three things. When I talk about decision making, I use three pictures: a table, a game, and an acronym. And that will give you a good kind of a framework, a decision framework for business owners in order to actually up the quality of your decisions. So let's talk about a table. Okay, in business, basically everything that happens through the decisions we're making. So the question is, how do we actually as a team make decisions? So if you are not a solo entrepreneur but actually have a team, basically how do you make decisions as a team? And one thing that I really kind of was very helpful for me when I first kind of understood it was the round table with the king. Okay, the story goes, it's around 1150 when poet Vasset describes King Arthur's round table, and we have watched many movies around King Arthur's and the famous round table. So when Arthur married, basically his wife brought a big table, a round table, into the marriage, and it was so big that they actually had to get a whole castle, and that's how the famous castle Camelot was born. Now Arthur gathered his most loyal men and made them knights of the round table. Now why round? Because no one could sit, in the best kind of a place. The table was meant for important decisions that they were making together. Everyone had a voice, but, and that is important basically, Arthur remained the king. Okay, and this picture basically shaped how I see leadership. At the round table, the leader and the team discuss the big issues. Okay, decisions are made together as much as possible. Now, the best idea should win. It's not about who has the title, it's the best idea should be winning. It's also not you as a business owner who always has the best idea. So ego and title have no place at the round table. Now at the end, and that's very important, there is still a king, and that is you if you are the business owner, and you have the final word, and that's sometimes 5 to 10%. So it's important that you are not having always overriding your team's decisions all the time, but in 5 to 10% of the cases, you can actually make a decision that is contrary to the decision that your team wants to make, because you in the end are the business owner. Now, why do I believe that this leadership principle is so important? Number one, basically it shows how strong leadership and good teamwork can work together. Everyone knows who has the power, and this clarity creates unity and prevents politics and power games. So important if you want to have a healthy team. Now, if a team can't decide, the leader can choose a direction so things don't get stuck. How often do things get stuck? Because basically it goes round and round. This principle is not just for you, but it's also for if you have a larger team and you have teams where you are actually not present. You have to make sure there is a king who actually has the decision, because the leader may sometimes has his own opinion, his intuition or experience. Sometimes basically as the business owner, in your gut, this is not the right way to do it. And you can't really explain it, but you still need the kind of the decision metrics. And that's why whenever somebody joins my leadership team, I explain that this principle to them, the round table with the king, so that they really understand it. Now, the leader carries the final responsibility. This is also important. They can't hide behind the team. So often maybe you have delegated something to a team and nobody really had the ownership because there was no king. And so when there is a king, so to speak, even if the decision is made as a team, he or she still feels the responsibility. So very important, a famous quote, actually a misquote from William Shakespeare is, "The head who wears the crown is heavy." Okay, because there should be something to be, when you carry the responsibility as the business owner, it's a heavy responsibility, even if you have a round table and even if you have a good team in place. Now, the second thing I want to mention when it comes to decision making is actually a game. Okay, now I stopped playing poker a long time ago because I have an addictive personality, and there were a lot of nights where I kind of all of a sudden looked at my watch and I was like, oh wow, it's already early in the morning, and I played the whole night poker. So I had to give it up. But there's something where we can learn from poker, and that is basically from a famous professional poker player, Annie Duke, who wrote a book called Thinking in Bets. And it's a great book basically that really kind of puts out this theory. Outcomes don't always reflect the quality of decisions. Sometimes a bad decision gets lucky, and sometimes a good decision leads to poor results. Now, what does she mean? It's like when you are playing poker, sometimes you have a hand and you know that 80% of the time you will win with that hand, and maybe you go all in, all the chips on the table. Now, in case the other person got lucky and basically got a card and falls into the 20%, you could argue that basically you made a wrong decision because you did not win. But actually, in Thinking in Bets, she turns this around, this whole concept, and saying, no, the decision was still right because in 80% of the times it was the right decision. Now, here's the thing. In business, most decisions are not black and white. People can make black and white decisions. That's easy. We can have somebody pay them $10 and basically they can make black and white decisions. Now, in most cases, our decisions that we are making are either bad or worse or good or better. And it takes wisdom, and we are not always 100% accurate in our decision making. And so that's why Thinking in Bets really kind of helps, that it's not always the outcome that determines the quality of the decision, but actually how you got to the decision. Basically, she introduced resulting, the idea of resulting, where people judge choices by their outcomes instead of the decision making process. So she argues that we should really look at the decision making process. Instead, basically, she says good decisions making means focusing on the probabilities, gathering better information, and separating skill from luck. So that's basically what she argues for. So the book teaches readers to treat decisions as bets. Every choice involves a weighing risk, rewards, and likelihood. So you basically are playing poker in your business, but you are making it in a calculated way and not as a gamble. Now, framing decisions this way, we shift from black and white thinking, right and wrong, to mindset of probabilities, more or less likely. This is also important when maybe some outcome happens, somebody on your team has made a decision and the outcome is not great and you are frustrated. That not always means that the decision was wrong. That is so important. Maybe the decision process was wrong and then you really have to have a conversation with the person. Or basically it was just bad luck, so to speak. The last thing I want to mention is an acronym. So here's the thing. We think that the success of a decision depends on that first phase. So what is happening here? How are we making a decision process? Who are we asking? What kind of wisdom are we applying? What kind of decision-making frameworks are we using to make a decision? And then we think, wow, we made the decision, everybody's happy, we are done. That is not the case. Actually, the real magic, the real success of a decision happens in this phase. After you made the decision, and that's where I'm talking about an acronym, is called M.A.R. Are you putting massive action into what is required to make this decision successful? So it's not just about making the right decision, it's actually making sure that once the decision is made, you are putting massive action into implementing the decision that you made. This is so crucial because you never know if the decision is correct if you are not really also being so intentional about the massive action that is required to making this decision work. So making a decision is not the finish line, it's a starting gun, so to speak. The real victory is won after the decision in the implementation phase. Okay, in the implementation phase, you need to implement your decision. Every decision demands M.A.R, massive action is required. Without execution, even the best decision is only theory. You can make the right decision, but if you're not implementing and pushing your team, using your leadership in order to get it done, you don't know if actually this is a good decision or not. And here's the key: half-hearted decisions normally create half-hearted actions, and that's why you have to make basically a decision, even if it's just 80% and you're not 100% sure if it's the right one. You need to commit to that action, because if you're half-hearted in the beginning phase, you will be half-hearted in the action, the massive action that is required phase, and then there is no chance for your decision to actually make a difference. And so that's why it is so important that you are making the decision and that you're committing to the decision, and then you're committing to the implementation. So commitment drives execution. Number one, speed matters. So when you make a decision, get it going. You know, many decisions need to be implemented right away, or else they stop being the right decision, because timing is key. Momentum builds. Even small steps create energy and clarity. So just get the ball rolling, and hesitation basically kills. Delay drains both confidence and focus. So don't stop at the decision, go all in and take the first small step right away to make things happening. So a decision isn't complete when you make it, it's complete when you execute with full commitment. So when you think of decision, think of the round table, poker game, and the acronym that massive action is required. That's a very good starting point for decision-making framework. Now, one of the best decisions you can make as a business owner is actually to decide that you want to build a self-managing business. That's what my channel is here all about, building a self-managing business. And I have a video where I actually have a masterclass on the 3 keys that you need to unlock in order for your business to become a self-managing business. And you're happy for you to check it out as the next video on my channel, or there should be a link somewhere.